basically what I'm saying is against Chelsea, as we know, we saw a very, a team selection that maybe not all of us were completely happy with, the old experience, etc. Against Liverpool, again, people weren't happy with the team selection, a lot of experience in there. So what we've seen of Amorim since being under pressure is he is happy. Well, I wouldn't say he's happy, but he's willing to drop younger players, whether it's Yoro, Dorgu, Sesko. He's willing to drop them for more senior players. That's the pattern we're seeing from Amorim. He doesn't really drop senior players. Not that often. Not in the big games anyway. It's the Maguires, it's the Shaws, it's the Brunos, it's the Casemiros, it's the Dalots. They're in for those games, as we've seen against Chelsea and against Liverpool. Is that now his tactic? Is that his tactic now to go more experienced in the bigger games to try and get the points? And will that continue against Brighton, or will he go back to a longer term vision in some of the games? Also against Liverpool, let's be very honest, I saw it, Dalot running from one side of the pitch to the other to launch Rory Delap type throw-ins. Lots of long balls going forward from the defence and from Lemens. The old diagonal was back again. Very direct football from Manchester United. Very low possession. In fact, against Liverpool, actually, people. This is what I wanted to say. It's working now. It will load up now. So, with expected goals, Manchester United's XG is 15.3, putting us third behind Arsenal and Crystal Palace and ahead of Liverpool across the whole of the Premier League this season. However, we're actually fifth in expected goals against. Just behind Fulham, Forest, Burnley and West Ham. So in some ways, we haven't conceded the goals that we're probably expected to, but we haven't scored the goals we're expected to, which is quite interesting. But when you look at the Liverpool game, we had 36% possession against Liverpool with an XG of 1.26. Liverpool had 63% with an XG of 2.76. This is why stats to me are a load of bollocks, because we won the game 2-1. But I think stylistically, there's a little bit of confusion about what we are now, because before the Liverpool game, a lot of positive people would say, our XG, we're top of this, we're top of that, we're top of this, we're not winning the games we should be winning, we should have won against Fulham, we should have beat Arsenal, the XG tells the truth, we should have scored more goals, therefore we should have been higher up the league. True, and the stats do feed that out. But then against Liverpool and Chelsea, our possession was really low. Really low. And our XG was low. And our tactics were very much pump the long ball, throw the long ball, and rely on those, counter-attacking moments. Will we do that against Brighton? Or will we go back on the front foot like we did against Brentford and Fulham and hope that we can turn it into wins like we did against Burnley and Sunderland? And I think it's all about balance, says Cigar. And I think that's what I'm hoping for as well. I'm hoping that this, I wouldn't call it desperation and I wouldn't call it brave, what Amorim's doing. I would call it balanced. I think it's a balanced approach. I think that there are certain games where he's looking at it and going, I need my experienced players. I want to play in a certain way. I saw Jamie Carragher talking about it on Monday Night Football, but we were talking about it on the watch along as well. It was very, very clear against Liverpool that very, very clear. I mean, you'd have to be bloody. You'd have to be watching football for the first time not to see it. So what we did a lot against Liverpool is we pinned the long ball up front to nobody because Sesko wasn't there. We let Konate or Van Dijk win the header, but then we made sure we won the second ball. And it was a pattern that was immediately evident in that game, and it continued for about 60 minutes. And then we stopped doing it and started trying to play through Liverpool, and that started to cause us more problems. In fact, I think we're one of the worst clubs in the league for losses of possession. But when we were hitting that long ball, it worked really, really well. And I think that, this is what I mean about Amorim and tactics against Liverpool. I think it did work quite well because it was quite basic. We're not the only team doing this, by the way. Arsenal are doing it. A lot of teams are doing this route one football. I don't like it. But it's effective. And it frustrates teams that don't want to do it. And we frustrated Liverpool, as we saw at the weekend. I just wonder, well, look, he can't keep doing it. That's what I'm saying. He can't keep, it won't work if he keeps doing it, because no Man United fan's going to put up with crazy gang tactics of Wimbledon or Stoke. And that's effectively what a lot of teams are doing at the moment. I said it to you last night. Like, there's a stat out there at the moment that there's been double the amount of long throw-ins into the box in the Premier League compared to this time last season. So a lot of teams are going route one. A lot of teams are playing the percentage ball. And it's funny. It's funny because we're not the only people doing it. And it was a very effective... Look, I ain't got a problem with doing it against Liverpool at Anfield, by the way. God, no. I ain't being negative about this. Like, we can't go to Liverpool and open up and try and pass through them. You know, we'll be dead. We bypassed their press by booting it long and winning the second ball. And that got us higher up the pitch. I mean, you think about what we've seen in the Premier League and from Man United badly under Ten Hag and sometimes under Amorim. You know, keeper gets it, passes it to the fullback, the press comes on, you start trying to play triangles, you miscontrol the ball, and then you concede. And every team's been doing this religiously for probably 5, 6, 7 years. You boot the ball to the halfway line, you can't get pressed. Their centre-back wins it, then you win the second ball. You've probably won the ball around the halfway line. So this is a tactic, and a lot of people are doing it.